Pollution is a huge destructive factor in our daily lives. We do it every day, although we might not know it. Pollution is the act of damaging the land, water, or air with garbage, CO2 emissions, or improper use of disposal. Pollution can lead to many things if it is not taken care of. In this video, we will talk to you about the three main pollution types and how we can decrease them.
Energy conservation, when you conserve something, by definition, that means we're going to use less of it. So energy conservation is that idea of turning down your thermostat or turning off the lights, making sure the refrigerator door is closed. But it's also different than energy efficiency, which would be the things like switching out your light bulbs so that you still have the light on, but it's still using less energy. Does that make sense? Yeah.
As you heard from Trisha, energy conservation is using less of a certain matter, such as turning off your lights or driving less.
What are the sources of water pollution? There are many causes for water pollution, but two general categories exist: direct and indirect contaminant sources. Direct sources include effluent outfalls from factories, refineries, waste treatment plants, etc. that emit fluids of varying qualities directly into urban water supplies. In the United States and other countries, these practices are regulated, although this doesn't mean the pollutants can be found in the water. Indirect sources include contaminant that enters the water supply from soils, groundwater systems, and from the atmosphere via rainwater. Soils and groundwaters contain the residue of human agricultural practices, fertilizers and pesticides, etc. The improperly disposed of industry's water atmospheric contaminants are also derived from human practices such as gaseous emissions from automobiles, factories, and even bakeries. Contaminants can be broadly classified into organic, inorganic, radioactive, and acid-base. Examples from each class and their potential sources are too numerous to discuss here.
As you saw in the video, water is a huge thing for us humans. If we pollute it, it will be affected greatly. We wouldn't have enough water to drink, and we would lose wildlife.
The city can produce a lot of pollution. With a bunch of people living in a crowded place, there's tons of cars, trash, all that thing. Casinos, factories, all polluting the air, the land, and the water. Instead of taking our cars, we could ride our bikes to places like that, or we could walk. Instead of throwing our trash away, we can recycle it and reuse it. Natural reserves like this one attract many species of wildlife. It also attracts humans, which can lead to stuff like this. If we let this go on, it can start to kill wildlife and affect us greatly.
Humans cause a lot of pollution, and that pollution gets into our air and affects us. Air pollution comes from factories, cars, and smoke.
We're already seeing it. You can look at asthma rates with kids, right? Because kids are going to be the ones that are most susceptible to any pollution. Once my body's done, my cells aren't dividing and developing, but yours still are. So you're more vulnerable to any pollution that's in the air. And so what we're seeing is childhood asthma rates are already worse, and they're going to continue to get worse. You know, minus global warming, coal and oil are spewing out nasty stuff in the air, and it affects your lung tissues and things like that. All the chemicals from the hormones and things like that get in our water affect kids. The pesticides on your fruit, because as a kid, I'm sure your mom makes you eat your fruits and vegetables. My mom doesn't make me eat fruits and vegetables anymore, but you eat a lot more than I do, and it still has that residual stuff. So that'll only continue to exacerbate. And some of the stuff we do, like our farming practices, change the way what food we eat. So now there's a study that came out saying kids born after the year 2000, 1 in 3 are likely to be obese and have diabetes, and that has to do with the way we farm. So those kinds of problems will just keep getting worse, and those odds, it'll be 1 in 2 kids, you know, and then every kid, it'll be like Wall-E, where everyone's walking around waddling.
A big debate here in Nevada is Yucca Mountain. The Yucca Mountain project has to do with nuclear waste, radioactive waste, being dumped into the mountains here by Las Vegas. It's safe for the rest of the country, but is it for the Las Vegas citizens?
You know what, that one's a hard one to answer too, because we've never done a national repository, so you can't predict too much in the future. If it all goes as designed, it's buried in a mountain, so theoretically the wildlife and the health of the people should be protected, but it's important to understand that by the time they open it, if they open it, it'll be full, and you still don't solve the problem of what to do with the waste, because we're still generating it.
A lot of people know what recycling is, but they don't know how to do it. A few ways of recycling is rechargeable batteries, or riding your bike, or simply throwing away your trash.
That's crazy. So you can go?
Every day there's so much we can do with every decision that we make. Every time we buy something from the store, you're promoting one business practice over another. So just things like, you know, as you're running errands, what kind of car are you driving? How often do you leave your house? Can you run those errands in one trip? Or are you leaving your house 5 different times to go run errands throughout the day? Can you carpool? Can you use reusable bags at the grocery store? Can you buy organic from the store? Or even just reading the labels to see how close your food is grown. But even voting, right, talking to each other about environmental issues, because we tend to leave that to the environmentalists, and it's not really part of the family table discussion. So even just talking about it is a big thing.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright.